So it's no secret that the Call of Duty franchise at this particular moment in time isn't really doing that well. For the past several years we've had future-based Call of Duty titles rammed down our throats, and well, quite a lot of people are not liking them. For whatever reason, the 3D movement system in Call of Duty, in a lot of people's opinions, just doesn't work. It makes gameplay very frustrating, very chaotic, and it means that more often than not, that we just can't enjoy the multiplayer side of the game. In this video, however, what I wanted to do is break things down, put things in a little bit of a perspective, and states that the next Call of Duty title released in 2017 by Sledgehammer Games will in fact be a past Call of Duty title. Now what you need to do is hear me out on all of the things that I will mention in this video. The first thing is of course that Sledgehammer Games will be the first developer to start over the 3-year development cycle. They did start the 3-year development cycle off with Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and well, what this meant is that Activision wasn't aware of fan feedback to do with the game. They thought that everyone was going to enjoy it, and that meant that they needed to tell Treyarch and Infinity Ward to also create future-based titles. This in turn meant once the game was actually released and people didn't enjoy it, Treyarch was already 2 years in development, Infinity Ward was already 1 year in development, and by that point it was just impossible to go back. However, with Sledgehammer Games knowing that Advanced Warfare didn't really do that well, it could indicate that yes, a past Call of Duty title is just on the horizon. Now, Michael Condrey and Clem Schofield have always tweeted out that they've listened to fan feedback to do with Advanced Warfare, and although that this could mean Advanced Warfare 2 could be around the corner, I believe that in fact they will be going to the past because of the previous project called Call of Duty Fog of War. Now, if you're not sure what Call of Duty Fog of War was, well, it was a Call of Duty title that was being developed at the time of Modern Warfare 3 that was being developed by Infinity Ward, and Sledgehammer Games had 8 months of development on the game. It was going to be a third-person Call of Duty title. They had around 15 minutes of actual gameplay that they could use. Now, unfortunately, at the time of development of Fog of War, the majority of the Infinity Ward team actually left the studio to form Respawn Entertainment that will go on to create the Titanfall series. This meant that Infinity Ward was in dire need of help, and Activision told Sledgehammer Games to abandon the development of Fog of War and go and assist Infinity Ward on finishing off Modern Warfare 3. By the time Modern Warfare 3 was completed, Activision was so impressed by Sledgehammer's work that they said that they was now going to be a part of a 3-year development cycle, and they was going to make their own traditional Call of Duty title. Of course, Sledgehammer Games had a lot of pressure. They wanted to make something out there, completely out there, that we've never seen before, and the result was Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Activision was completely on board with the brand new 3D movement system, aka the exosuits, and then they told the other developers, that being Treyarch Games and Infinity Ward, that they would like their next title to be the same. This unfortunately has meant that 3 years of future-based Call of Duty titles has been present, and although that 2017 is just around the corner, I definitely think that after Infinite Warfare, we will be getting a past Call of Duty title. Now, in my opinion, I think that we will be going in a Vietnam era. One of the other things that has been floated around, I've got a little bit of intel but not that much, is that possibly the Call of Duty Bloodlines leak that we seen a couple of months ago, a lot of people thought that it was going to be the next Call of Duty title by Infinity Ward. Actually, that could be something to do with Sledgehammer Games. Now, hear me out on this. It might seem completely wild, of course, at this particular moment in time, it's just speculation. But a lot of people that I speak to have been stating that the Bloodline leak is in fact to do with Sledgehammer Games, and the Bloodline will evolve around one individual family. Apparently there's going to be 3 generations of soldiers. This will mean that we'll be in World War I, World War II and the Vietnam War, and apparently there's going to be a lot of different emotional scenes. For example, the father of the 3rd generation soldier actually dies alongside him within Vietnam. Now, like I said, all of that is just speculation. That is the rumours that I've been hearing. At this particular moment in time, I wouldn't really take anything from it. but I definitely think that Sledgehammer Games will be going to a past Call of Duty title. Now, the reason for this is quite simple. Of course, a lot of people are frustrated with future-based Call of Duty titles. In fact, with Infinite Warfare, Activision was that concerned about the game that they decided that Raven Software would develop Modern Warfare Remastered to try and boost the sales. Now, if that is not evident enough that Activision are listening to fan feedback, unfortunately, because of the 3-year development cycle, it does make it very difficult, then I don't know what is. So I definitely think that we will be getting a past Call of Duty title. If it was my own guess, I would say that it will be based in the Vietnam War. Because Sledgehammer Games did work on a Vietnam War title already, even though that it was a third-person title, they've gained a lot of experience, they've gained a lot of knowledge about the Vietnam War, and I definitely think they could make a very cool game. Now, in regards to Fog of War, that could also return as a 3rd/4th game mode. Of course, we now know that every single Call of Duty title will have a zombies game mode because that is just a big selling point of the game, but also Fog of War could come as a 3rd/4th game mode within the game as well. Now, in regards to the Bloodline leak very quickly as well, what I will say is that the reason behind Bloodline is also because that there's going to be World War I weapons, World War II weapons, and Vietnam weapons, which will just make for a lot of different weapons being incorporated into the multiplayer side of the game, aka supply drops. Now, I'm not going to get into much detail about that. Of course, I'll start covering this next year once we actually get into Infinite Warfare. There's no point in covering it so early just yet. But if you guys are interested in that, why not subscribe? I'll be covering all of the latest Call of Duty content and, of course, tips and trick videos, stuff like that, once Infinite Warfare and Modern Warfare Remastered does release. But anyway, guys, that is pretty much it from me. I've been Long Sensation. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.